What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at how to make piano melodies, and we're going to be taking a look at a couple different ways as well. So if you guys are ready, let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing is just to make sure that you have a good piano sound to start with. So you could have a VST, you might even have some one-shots. But a couple really good VSTs that I can think of right off the bat would be like Keyscape. That's the one that I use. You could do something like a Lounge Lizard electric piano. You could do like Addictive Keys. There's some really good Contact libraries that are good piano sounds. Things like that are going to work really, really great. So the next thing you're going to want to decide is like, what kind of vibe are you going for? What kind of emotion are you trying to go for with your piano? Are you trying to do something that's more sad and depressed, or are you trying to do like a happy, uplifting thing? So once you got that figured out, then you need to think about how you're going to do the pianos. Do you want it to be like a super complex piano melody? Or do you want it to be like a really simple melody that's like really hard and is super simple to put together? So we're going to be doing both of those things right now. I'm going to show you how to make each of those, and let's jump right into that. Okay guys, so let's start with that simple one first. For a simple one, things that I like to do is play out the piano on my keyboard. Just come up with a really quick pattern that I really like. Otherwise, you could go ahead and click it in if you want to do that as well. So like that was a super simple melody that I just laid down right there, and you can honestly make a full beat around that. So I'm going to go ahead and press this little button right here because it actually saves what you're playing in the background. I love Ableton for that. So honestly, we could go with that, but one thing that we could do is, just to test this out at least, is use another octave as well. So let's try that out. So if we go up an octave here, let's see how this sounds. I think it might sound better if we go down an octave though. So if I was going to do that, I definitely don't want these low notes to be anywhere near as loud as the higher notes. I kind of want them to sit in the background just to add some, just to fill it up a little bit, just to fill in the frequency range there. So I'm going to select all these ones and just move these velocities all down a little bit. So we could literally leave that and then move on and start making other melodies, or we could even just go with this, honestly, and run it the whole entire time. But another thing that you could also do is put some bass notes in here with the piano as well, because that always sounds good when you add some of those bass notes. So you could go down to some lower octaves, and you could play with the different notes until you get a really good bass line to go with that. So let's do that really quickly. So you could definitely do something like that, keep it super simple. Another thing that you can do that you'll see a lot is, let's go ahead and make this 8 bars. And what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate this all over there. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this one up, and we're going to put all of these ones down. So then you can do something like this. Let's take a listen to this now. And then you can even do something cool at the end here, which I like to do sometimes. Maybe we'll go put something like right here. Yeah, so literally something that simple could work really well. You could also play with it around here as well if you want to do something on the end of there. But this is like the basic concept for adding some bass notes onto your piano. So if I was going to go with a melody like this, I might put some effects on it, maybe a little bit of reverb, maybe some like delay, maybe a cassette or a different vinyl distortion plugin, something like that. And we could either just leave it how it is, or we could add other instruments with it. Maybe we want to put like a flute, maybe we want to put like a bass instrument or a pad. Something like this would always work really well with it. Otherwise, you could literally leave it how it is and play the whole song just like that, with just that as the melody. But let's look at how you could do a more complex piano melody. So usually when I'm doing a more complex piano melody, I'm going to start off with some chords. And if you guys don't know how to make chords or anything like that, I'm going to link at the top of this video right now my cheat sheet, my cheat video that shows you all of the chord theory and scales and all of that stuff that you need to know as a music producer. And as a hint, it's really, really simple stuff. So go ahead and check that one out when you can. And we're not going to go too much over music theory and stuff like that in this episode, but we're still going to go ahead and show you how to make some chords anyways. So literally when you're making chords and you have your scale turned on, it's literally you're just going to skip one note. So to make an F chord, you just go F, then you go A, C, and that would make a chord. So you're just skipping every other note that's in the scale. It's literally that simple. So let's go ahead and make a chord progression that we like, and then we'll start building some more notes off of that. Okay, so this would be like a really basic chord progression, and you'll have to play with the different chords and which ones you like to see what your progression is going to be. But guys, it's pretty simple to do. You just have to play around with it and keep trying until you find something you like. But here's a really basic one that sounds kind of good, and it's going downwards, so it's kind of got that emotional, sad kind of a feel with it. So this is what that sounds like. So yeah, it can really be that simple. And then you could go ahead and play with the chords. You could take these middle notes if you wanted to and maybe put them up an octave. You could add other notes in here as well. So let's try this out. Let's put them up an octave, but let's keep these ones as well. So if you wanted to, you could add in other notes. You just got to make sure they're going to sound okay. So let's say we wanted to add, maybe we'll put in an A right here. And any of the notes that are working down here will always work when you put them in a different octave. So that's something to note. But if you wanted to do something different, that's when you got to kind of listen to it and make sure it's going to be okay. So for instance, if we put this up one right here, we're not using that down here. So we're going to have to listen to this and make sure it sounds okay. So you could use that, but it doesn't really sound the best to me, so we're not going to go with it. Let's go back down to here. Maybe we even get rid of these ones since we have them up an octave. Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and roll with that. So I'm just going to copy these over again. We're going to keep this very basic but complex at the same exact time. Let's add some bass notes to this. And bass notes are super simple once you already have the basic chord set up. We're literally just going to take our bottom notes here, and we're going to duplicate these down a couple octaves. And you could even use multiple layers of the bass notes, so I think it would sound good if we also did an octave above this as well. So now you can just feel that it's a really thick and it's a really, really big sound. And that's because we've added several layers of different octaves and different notes that are in different frequency range. So that piano is starting to take up a bigger spectrum of frequencies. So honestly, you have a couple choices from here. Either you could just keep the chords and then go ahead and make your other counter melodies kind of finish off the melody for you, or you could do it all right within the piano. We could go ahead and make some top notes in here. So really you could go either way with this. But let's go ahead and make some top notes in here so you guys can see how I would do that. Okay guys, and when you're making top notes, this is really all trial and error. There is no like crazy method to do it. It's literally just start playing things. You could do it on your keyboard or you could just do it with clicking it in. And what we're gonna do is just click it in for this one. So let's go ahead and extend these notes out so they play like just twice as long. They're just a little bit longer. Boom. So this is something super simple you could use. Let's take a listen to it. Cool, so it sounds pretty decent, not bad whatsoever. And what we could do is honestly copy this over again. You could leave it as it is, or maybe you even change it up just a little bit. So let's change it up a little bit just to go even more detailed with it. Damn, that's pretty close. I mean, we're getting close here. Let's maybe we just move these over like right there, and that might sound good. This note also sounded a little awkward. Let's try putting it down just one more note there. That might sound better. But we definitely want to make sure that the velocities are all different so that it feels more humanistic. It sounds like a human played it and not a robot. So we definitely want to play with the velocities, and we could also play with where they're set as well. So we can put these off just a little bit. And what I might actually do is select everything, and I might move everything off like the same amount, like maybe like right there. Let's see. So that sounds kind of cool. And one other thing you can do is kind of do a strumming effect. So with these chords, maybe you put some of these in a little farther than others. And you could get a strumming effect if you kind of separate them all like this. So if you want to get a strumming effect, that's all you literally have to do is kind of like pull them back in order like this, and you'll get more of a strumming effect with those chords. Okay guys, now we're just going to change up the velocity, so we could either do this by hand. If you happen to play the melody in by hand on your MIDI keyboard, it will have captured them already. That's really the best method. Or you could use like one of Ableton's randomizer, velocity randomizer plugins. So let's do that because it's going to be the easiest method. So this is a MIDI effect right here. You might have to have like Ableton Suite to get this effect. So if you don't have this one available to you, all you got to do is just put those up and down by hand. And it'll be perfectly fine that way. But let's go ahead and throw this velocity on here, and we're just going to play with this just a little bit. So something really basic like that will sound and do wonders for you. Boom, guys, and there you have it. So as you saw, it's very, very simple to make these piano melodies. You just have to kind of figure out, you know, what emotion are you going for? What kind of a melody are you going to use? Are you going to use different kinds of instruments with it, or are you just going to stick with the piano? So once you have that down, it's really all just about playing around with it until you get it to sound awesome. So I hope you guys liked that one. I spilled a lot of sauce there for you guys. Make sure to smash the like button on this one if you did. Also subscribe to the channel if you're new here, because we're uploading tutorials like this all the time that you're not going to want to miss out on. And besides that, guys, I'll be catching each and every one of you again in the next one. Peace out, gang.